Hello, my name is Gustavo San Roman, and I would like to thank you for taking the time to view this presentation. The Birthrisk Cesarean Birth Measure provides a robust suite of reporting features. This is a report using actual data for hospitals in New York State. There were over 70,000 births with a 14.89% cesarean birth rate. The subentity for this report is hospital, and 101 hospitals are represented. There are 20 hospitals that had Birthrisk Cesarean birth measures that were statistically significantly higher than the average for the state. There were 58 hospitals whose measures were not statistically significantly different from the average, and there were 23 hospitals that had measures that were statistically significantly better than the average for the state. In red are the worst 5 hospitals, and in green are the best 5 hospitals. This type of report could be used by healthcare administrators to create value-based reimbursement or by accreditation agencies to determine centers of excellence and centers that need improvement. The worst hospital on the list is number 5760. This report is a breakdown of the births at that hospital. This report sorts the results first by parity into nulliparous and multiparous, and then by onset of labor into spontaneous or induced. This hospital's cesarean birth rate for induced nulliparous women was 52.50% for women who only had an inherent risk of 30.48%. Or in other words, when compared to the average hospital, this hospital performed an additional 22 cesarean births per 100 nulliparous women who were induced. If we look at their numbers for induced multiparous women, please note that they also performed an additional 20 cesarean births per 100 multiparous women who were induced. Hospitals are made up of obstetrical care providers, and this report shows the obstetrical providers from Hospital 5760 as the subentity. Here you can see that 6 providers had a Birthrisk Cesarean birth measure that were statistically significantly worse than the average for New York State, and the rest were average. This report, along with the previous report, can be used by hospital administrators to monitor cesarean birth utilization at their institution. This report is the breakdown for the provider with the most births at Hospital 5760. When we look at this provider's multiparous patients who were induced, we see an incomprehensible 36% cesarean birth rate for women who only had an inherent risk of 6.77%. Or in other words, when compared to the average provider, this provider performed an additional 30 cesarean births per 100 multiparous women who were induced. These reports illustrate the importance of using a cesarean birth measure that not only includes inherent risk, but also provides results for both nulliparous and multiparous women. I would like to thank you for taking the time to view this presentation.